Special election Tuesday in Pennsylvania has a lot of different dynamics in play. First and foremost, a Democrat appears to be the winner in a district that Donald Trump won by 20 points. Conor Lamb is up by several hundred votes and has declared himself the winner, but the GOP candidate Rick Saccone not giving up just yet. Also, the candidate matters. Conor Lamb is telegenic, has a compelling backstory, and he had a message that resonated with Republicans and Democrats alike. Also, Republicans stopped talking about their tax plan. This chart shows how last month most ads in Pennsylvania mentioned it, but as it got closer to Election Day, well, the tax plan stopped appearing in any ads. And maybe this is why. A new poll by Politico shows only a quarter of the people asked have noticed a fatter paycheck since the thing kicked in. More than half say they haven't seen any increase whatsoever. Bill, the tax plan was supposed to be the saving grace for Republicans, the thing that pushed back against anti-Trump sentiment. What's happening?
I don't think they were backing off on the tax plan. I think they were going negative because they needed to, because the Democrat was going to embarrass them, and he turned out to doing it in the end. I think it was more that they were going negative rather than going positive out with the tax plan. I still think they prefer talking about the tax plan.
When you have $10 million, you can do two things at once. And they walked away from the tax plan because they pulled it.
They went harsh negative on it.
They went negative, but they also pulled the tax plan, and it wasn't doing them any good. When you're in a working class rural community where there aren't people making $350,000 a year, that tax plan isn't worth anything to you.
I think you could still make the case on the tax plan easily. I don't think people know how it's going to fall out yet.
Things will be better is not a way to win a congressional special election.
Yeah, I don't think that was intentional. I think it was that they put all the money in. The Democrat.
I think it works out to like $20 a paycheck for the average income. Half people being under that, half people. I don't know. Would you notice an extra $20 in your paycheck? I mean, it's not.
A lot of people
would.
would
Double
a lot of people.
Or is it that? Well, yeah, and that's overpaying it. But would it be? Is the argument that the overall economy is better, or do people have to feel the economy?
Well, the argument certainly is that the overall economy is better, and I think people do feel that in most places.
Wait a minute. Since the tax bill passed? No, in the last 6 weeks?
No, in the last year and a half. I think that's all Trump has.
Well, the economy has stayed on a pathway of continued growth on about the same track it always was. Good for Trump. It stayed growing.
People
Good
feel
for
better
Obama.
about it.
He turned it around. But does the tax bill change votes? It does not, and it will not. And the Republicans are looking at a wave coming that's gonna just overwhelm them.
Bingo. You hit it right there.
I did?
Republicans are looking at a wave that's going to hit them.
Yeah.
Well, what was the rest of that?
And they won't know it hit them.
And they won't know it hit them. Smart man.
It's not as though I didn't tell him what hit him.
Thank you.
I just did.
But it's coming.
It's coming.
It's coming. But what, Andrew?
Wait.
If you missed it.
The Republican consultants have come up with a theory. And what is it again?
Hopefully we screen grab that. We can put a GIF of that up online.
But Andrew, I understand the importance of discussing whether Americans are feeling that it's a better economy. I think if we're going to look at the economy, it's still, somewhat stable, and that credit has to go to Obama because he's the one that set these policies in place, and they've just been about the same under Trump. But here's the bottom line. It's not about a tax cut. It's not about a better looking candidate. All of this, special elections are different. All of this comes down to the man in the White House. The Republicans, listen, here's the truth.
Credit on the economy. I mean,
but here's the truth. The wave is coming. There is nothing Republicans can do that's going to turn this around. We can't go a single news cycle without an embarrassment from the president. Do you know how many times I'm stopped a day and I'm asked about President Trump?
11.
I'm in the post office this afternoon and I'm asked about the Secretary of State that's just been fired. I can't even mail my postage because I'm being asked.
They recognize you?
Well, let me.
Strangers come up.
All right, let me explore this a little bit. Do you think people have
voters' remorse
who have said they wanted to give Trump a chance and they feel like the grief isn't worth it, the agita is not worth what they're getting out of Trump? Let me ask the Republican on the panel.
I think there was a moment after the tax cut and the economy was feeling a lot better where things were beginning to turn for the Republican Party. There's starting to be some hope for 18. The problem is that this president keeps blowing any chance to talk about anything else other than what's happening that
Trump
day.
fatigue.
And it's a constant. It just never stops.
Trump
We
fatigue?
can't-
And there's
we
a Trump
can't get
fatigue.
through-
I think
we
that's
can't
right.
It's already a Trump fatigue. We can't listen. And I'm saying this as a journalist objectively. I don't see how you guys can even discuss term number 2. This has been a bad experiment for the American people, and I don't think they're willing to take that chance again. We are not able to get past one news cycle without the president embarrassing
Except he
himself
defied
or the
all
country.
of that during the campaign when we were all saying
Right.
the same thing. So
But-
everybody's
right,
sort of like,
because
maybe it'll
Hillary-
happen
because
again.
Hillary
Turns out
Clinton-
how people are angry. Turns out people really didn't like Hillary.
Yes.
Turns out when you remove those two things, people go back and say, do I really want this? And the answer is no.
That brings me to another point, because Conor Lamb's getting a lot of talk about he was a good candidate. Some of that's his positioning, but some of that's he's telegenic, he's well-spoken. You know, Hillary was not a good candidate. She didn't come across as being genuine. Trump was a genuine something, but he was at least more genuine.
Hillary got 2 million more votes
We do a
than
lot of
the other guy.
analysis. We do a lot of analysis of policies and positions and things like that. How much does the more ephemeral stuff matter? They look good on TV. They sound good. They're somebody you want to have in your living room. I mean, you run campaigns.
It often matters a lot. It's a great question, and I think he was a very good candidate. You also get better candidates when there's a chance of winning. Obviously, people step forward and they put themselves forward. But I've had terrific candidates in really bad years for Republicans that have gotten the New York Times editorial endorsement. Republicans, Post, News, really strong candidates that ended up getting blown out in these wave years. There's not that much you can do about it. So I think it's a little bit of both. But you have to have the good candidate in the first place.
Being pretty helps, but it's not enough.
Is that how you got elected so many
It
times?
was, as a matter
Yeah,
of fact,
yeah.
and many, many times. But thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Notice I didn't respond. Notice I didn't respond
wait,
to that.
but wait,
What is
but
it?
wait.
One more time. What
Couldn't
was
even
that?
look at him.
Wait, show me something.
La,
La 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 la.
When you guys are finished,
La la la
started.
la la.
when you guys are
started.
finished,
For sure.
in the end, Trump years where people reject their self-interest and vote their anger are rarer than we think they are. And you're getting a sense of voters' remorse, especially among women and especially among suburban women. And that brings us back to New York, where in New Jersey, on Long Island, and in the Hudson Valley, you're going to see
The graphic, was
ballots.
the graphic that was so interesting in the Pennsylvania 18 race was the election districts, the precincts, which ones became more Democratic than in 16. It was every one of them. And that's a chill up your spine if you're a Republican consultant, I got to tell you.
All right, so much for talking about Donald Trump. Let's talk about Donald Trump. For a guy who's always talking about trade deficits and tariffs, you'd think he'd know about our trade numbers with Canada, our close neighbor and ally. He doesn't, and he admitted it, and that's not even the most surprising thing he was caught on tape admitting. Stay with us.